Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Coffee with Carl. If you're new to the channel, welcome here. Glad to have you. If you're coming back, thanks for supporting the channel. Very much appreciate that and hope this is helpful. Guys, I am so excited to be sharing with you our last video with Evoto. This is the fourth of our 4 video series, and this is going to cover our entire workflow. So I'm just going to go from start to finish on our workflow for schools and sports to show you a couple little tricks that we use that I know some people are struggling with. So check this out. It's going to be a good one. All right, everybody. So we are going to get right into it. Today, we are going to do a full workflow walkthrough on both our sports and schools. So I'm only going to show this once. As you can see, I've already got my sports loaded in here, but I do want to show, just in case you're just now starting with Evoto, literally from start to finish. So what we're going to do is come over here to this create project. All right. And I'm just going to call this my school workflow. If I can type, it's a little early. All right. So you've got a couple different options here, right? So I can import my image, I can import folders, or I can import directly from Lightroom. I've got my tethered shooting and my auto import. I actually covered those two in one of the other videos, so check those out if that is what you're interested in. But today we're going to go ahead and import directly from the folder. So personally, I like to just drag and drop. I think it's easier, especially I think it's easier than navigating through the folder itself. So all I'm going to do is drag and drop this in. All right. And so you can see I've got just my raw images in here, or my I'm sorry, we call them raw. It's just our beginning images, right? So these are my JPEG images. Now, I haven't culled through these. I haven't done anything. I'm actually currently culling these in Evoto. So I'm going to show you that process as well. So I've got my presets over here. Now I'm not going to get into building presets today, but we are going to talk about tweaking presets slightly. So what I want you guys to know is if you need a preset, again, go to one of my other videos in the series of 4, and I do talk about those presets. So I've got my presets over here, so I'm just going to click on schools, and here is my fall preset. All right. So actually, before we even get into that, I completely forgot. We are going to cull these images. So, guys, I just took a sampling of a school. So all I do when I cull these is I leave everything as a 0 star, and then I start kind of looking through. So if I find one that I don't like, what I'm going to do is mark it as a 1 star. So you can see this little kiddo here, he's kind of looking off instead of looking forward. So I'm just going to mark him as a 1 star, and then just kind of finish up and go through, right? So, and you can see we got a little bit of glass glare here. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and fix that. Now what I'm going to do is come over here to my filter, and I'm just going to click on the equal or higher than and select just only. And you're going to notice that this kiddo is going to disappear because I've got it marked as 0 stars, right? So now there we go. I've already culled my images. Again, granted, I've only got, 15, 20 images here. So it's not a ton. So that's how I go through and cull my images now. And guys, even for 1,000 kids, it's only going to take me 10, 15 minutes to go through and quickly cull those. But I know it's correct. And, I can just kind of move forward from there. Okay, so now that we have these culled, what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to our presets. And I have my schools preset right here. So I'm just going to click on that. And I'm going to select my fall preset. So when I select that, you can see it, well, quickly processing down here. But it is very fast, guys. And you can see I've got my preset exactly where I want it, right? Now, if there's anything else that I want to tweak in here, I can just go ahead and tweak it. And so let's say the lighting was off and I needed to increase my exposure slightly, or, what have you. Guys, I can tweak these presets as I move along, right? So let's go ahead and just, I don't know, kick up that exposure just because. So now what I'm doing is going into here, and one little trick I want to show you is, and this will kind of come into play with the sports especially, is with the background. When you are selecting your background, you can now change your fill region to cropped. So this used to be the original, and now we can change it so that background actually fits our cropped selection. And again, it really shows on the schools, but I'll show you how to utilize that with our sports too. All right. So now that I've got this exactly where I want it, all I'm going to do is I'm hitting Control A or Command A for to select all of them, and then I'm just going to sync this forward. All right. Now, when I do this, I do want to make sure that I am selecting the crop and rotate because there is a crop involved, and I'm going to sync these. All right. And then all this is doing is updating all of these images to exactly what I want. And then we can just kind of quickly go through. Now, guys, you don't have to wait for all of these to load before you start exporting. So some of our jobs, if we feel confident that the settings and the lighting and everything was spot on, perfect, exactly what we wanted, we'll go ahead, come in here, add that preset, start exporting, and we upload directly into our sales platform. So, but even over here, this was the lady that had the glass glare. So again, we have glass glare built into our preset. So when we select that preset, it automatically adds that glass glare. Guys, this is, I know I keep talking about this, but this is really the power of those presets, right? And the only thing with this photo, I would say maybe her chin's up a little too high. So again, I had done a video on being able to bring that chin down, right? So maybe we go through and adjust that slightly. So again, if you're confident that everything looked great during the shoot when you went through and were calling, all you got to do is hit that preset and move on, right? So at this point, I would come over to our export button. Now you do want to select all of your images and then export. So obviously the settings are completely up to you, right? And you can see down here, it doesn't look like any of these have been fixed, right? But once you click on them, they are. So again, that preset is taking place. So there's a couple things you can do on your export. Obviously, you've got presets for your export. Here's a little trick that I don't think a lot of people know about is I personally like to do all of my presets prior to exporting. Again, just in case something is off and I need to tweak it. But technically speaking, I can go directly to my export. If I know it's spot on, I can go directly to my export with that preset, and I don't even have to add the preset. It's going to automatically add it as I export. Okay. And here's the thing. I can actually select multiple presets. So if I have a preset with this background and I select that one, I can create a new preset with, let's say, a blue background, select it, and then it will export every single background option that I want instead of having to go through and change the background and re-export. So it'll automatically do that for me. So again, for instance, if I had my schools and then I had fall gray background, fall blue background, fall purple background, I could just go through and select all these and it would automatically change those background options for me. So that is a way that you can really, really speed up your workflow. Now, personally, I like to just do this in my original folder. I do have it create a subfolder, and then I would just call this finished or upload, or again, however you guys want to, export these. The file name I typically keep as original. I know some people will append this, with either a number or the child's name, or however you want to do that. If you want to do it with the background option or what have you. Image size, I do also try to keep that at 300, and I keep original format. So most of this stuff, guys, I'm keeping exactly how it is, right? So, but I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. So normally, like I said, I would go ahead and just export that out. So let's go ahead and swing over into our sports workflow. And guys, I mean, seriously, that's how easy our workflow is for schools now. So let's go ahead and jump into our sports. And it's very, very similar. So again, I am going to come over here into our sports now. And I'm just going to select our outdoor, because this was out in a tent. And I do have it tweaked slightly for outdoor and indoor, but again, completely up to you, right? So now here's my PNG. I typically am running all of my backgrounds in Pixnub, but now that we have the multi-background functionality and the crop function, full body function in Evoto, that might be an option that we switch to even, is for our background options. Let me go ahead and pull open one of my backgrounds. So here's our lit background. And again, you can see we're on original fill, so it's kind of squishing this background. We're going to change that. So let me go into my crop. All right, I'm going to come over here to our AI crop ID photo, and I just default it to the 1x1, right? Obviously, we're going to change that. So I'm just going to change that to our 8x10. All right, and I'm going to change this to 300. And again, this is my point: is guys, you can change all of this within your preset. So again, as you can see, I clicked on the preset. I got 90% of the work done, and now I'm going through and tweaking some of this stuff. All right. So I want this to locate the subject. So I'm going to do a full body. And guys, bear with me. I know this probably isn't the best background to do this on, but just for demonstration purposes. All right. So I'm going to do my subject here, and I'm going to do subject locate, right? So now I'm just going to reset my subject, and you can see I've got my top margin and I've got my bottom margin left and right. So I'm going to go ahead and just adjust this accordingly. And now when I go, I'm just going to hit OK. And I can create that as a crop preset if I want, but I'm just going to hit OK. I'm going to go back to my background option, right? Now, here's where I think a lot of people get hung up, is they want to move the subject, right? Well, I can't really move the subject onto the background, but if the background is placed exactly how it should be in that 8x10, then I can go put in my cropped, and you can see it actually will say did move the subject exactly where it should be. Now, one of the preset things that I want to talk about, obviously, I can't even see the shadow. So I'm going to go back into my shadow option. I'm just going to increase that opacity a little bit, just to give a little more oomph to that shadow because of the specific preset, right? So same thing, right? I'm going to go ahead and select all, because I think this looks pretty good. Normally, yes, again, I would go through and I would go through and cull these, right? And then, so she's looking off, so on and so forth, right? And then over here, hit my only, and then it would get rid of those 1 stars. But again, going back to this, I'm going to select all. I'm going to come over here to my sync. I'm going to sync this. Guys, if it ever does that where it doesn't give you the options for the boxes, it's because you've already synced and you've already made your selections. If you need to change that, all I gotta do is come over here to this little settings button and it'll auto-populate that. All right, so Now you can see I've got it exactly where I want it for all these kiddos. Even the taller kiddos got same top, same bottom. Even for this big old boy over here, he's really tall, especially compared to some of these littles. All right. Not sure why it did it on that one, but again, hey, perfect example, right? Something didn't go exactly how I wanted, and it could just be because of the width on how wide I have him. Easy fix. We come over here. We just readjust for this one. Bring that down. Hit OK. Now it's fixed, right? So very, very easy, quick fix on a lot of these. All right. The one thing I would suggest is when you're fixing your crops, do it on your widest image. So set your crop on your widest image and then adjust it accordingly. See, even like this one, she's off just a little bit. So then I would sync it based on that. All right. So same thing, right? If I wanted to set that as a preset and then also set it as a like crop it in, so she's cropped in differently, I can export those as multiple exports. Okay. I can also just export it as a PNG, so that way I have the option to run, more creative stuff in Pixnub. So there's so many different options on my export. Like I said, this is normally how I export, and then I just run it in Pixnub. But there is the functionality now to recrop your backgrounds to fit your crop within Evoto, which is going to be a game changer. So again, I just go to my export, make sure I'm selected on all, and then I go ahead and export those. And guys, that is legitimately how quickly we are getting these out now using the Evoto platform. So guys, thank you for sticking around for all 4 of these videos. I really hope that out of the 4, you were able to get something out of this. I think there's a lot of information packed into this, so feel free, watch the videos multiple times, because I definitely think there's little nuggets in each of these videos. So as always, if you have questions, feel free to get in touch with me. Jump in the Coffee with Carl Facebook page, chat, or just reach out to me directly, and I'm always happy to help. So again, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.